you by Boo Crew Media and Company Burger, located at 4600 Ferret Street, the best burger joint in New Orleans. Make sure you go check them out. God, I could go for one right now. Justin Apley in studio with Ross Thibodeau. Before we get to this, Ross, tough one last night. I wanted to, you just came in. I was saying, thank God we didn't do this at 10 a.m. because I was extremely heated this morning. And listen, I tweeted this out last night. The Pelicans lost the game. If Devontae Graham goes up, hits 2 in a row, the game's over. If Brandon Ingram hits 2 in a row, the game's over. Okay, I get that part. But last night, Ross, was unwatchable. For 3 hours, we had to sit down and watch the Denver Nuggets continuously bitch and complain about every fucking call. And like we were just talking about, the rest gave out 5 technical fouls last night. They should have had about 10.
Yeah.
And it's just unwatchable. Jokic just bitching, complaining every second. It's a problem. And to the point of like Jokic then just started getting every single call. They shot 21 free throws in one quarter. 21 free throws to 9. Like, let that sink in. That's a whistle every 20 seconds, every 15 seconds. It's not fun to watch, Ross. I mean, am I wrong on this? But like, I don't know if I'm overreacting, but I get the Pelicans lost last night. They could have controlled winning that game. But the referees literally stole that game from the Pelicans last night.
Yeah, I mean, I won't go that far and say they stole it. But, I mean, look, combined, I think there was like over 70 free throws in that game. It's just it's too many. And my biggest issue, I said this year, it's kind of the same. It's different, but the same, at least in my opinion, of what Harden used to do with the kind of swing through and all of that.
Right.
And Jokic is so big, and he's creating a lot of that contact, almost all of it.
Yeah.
And I struggle with the notion that the league rewards that type of play. Like, it's okay. I don't care that you're playing that way, but just understand that, like, you're not going to get a free throw every time that you are barreling through the lane. Because I mean, it was like the one he was complaining about it. He wanted a call on the play where he busted Valanciunas' lip,
where he led with the basketball, popped him in the mouth, and laid it up and wanted a foul.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, there's a lot of plays like that throughout the game and he's such a good player, and guys his size generally can't put it on the floor like that. And that's great. I'm not taking anything away from Jokic. He's unbelievable.
He's a great player.
He's unbelievable. But I just don't like that, you get in these points of the game and those guys start taking advantage of the whistle because they know it's coming.
Right.
And the referee is expecting, they are expecting a foul. So they start blowing the whistle early. And it's this weird thing where it's like, dude, he didn't get touched. If anything, he created contact and you're giving him a foul for it. I have a big problem with that.
Aaron Gordon had 15 free throw attempts last night. It's a best for Aaron Gordon. 15. He averages 3. Okay, everyone's like, Aaron Gordon was being aggressive last night. Well, if he's aggressive, you know who else is really fucking aggressive is Brandon Ingram. And yeah, maybe BI had 12 free throws, whatever it was, 13. But when Zion Williamson comes back, you think he's getting the same calls as Jokic? And like, I get it. It's Jokic. He's an MVP player. He puts butts in the seats. I understand that, but call it game fair.
It was just the time of the game, right? Where it just looked really bad because he was taking advantage of the whistle, and they kept giving it to him. And so it's like, guys, at some point you got to just let him play a little bit. I mean, he's just barreling into the paint and creating this contact. Like, yes, there's going to be contact. It doesn't mean contact does not mean there's a foul.
This is Aaron Gordon was literally skating. It's from Kyle.
Yeah, I know.
He was skating. At one point, he took 4 steps last night, and a foul. It was an and1 called on Jackson.
Yeah, look, we could go about this. The NBA is super inconsistent in how it's officiated,
but it's a problem.
And it's a problem. It's frustrating. At the end of the day, and why I say that they didn't steal that game from us is because we stole the game from ourselves.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that. I want to talk about this because there was a play late or midway through the 4th. Herb Jones takes a clear charge. It's a clear charge. I mean, like, I don't understand how you could call it a blocking foul. And the baseline referee calls a block, and Willie Green's like, that's so just ridiculous. I have to challenge this. So let me ask you this, Ross. if there's this referee problem, and the challenge has been here for 3 or 4 years, why is there only one challenge? And if you're successful, why do you lose that challenge? I feel like that Willie Green gets the challenge right. He should be able to challenge any other player that he wants to, but he has to use the challenge on a blatant charge call that's called a block on Jokic. And then it's clear as day. The call gets overturned. It's our ball, but why does Willie Green lose that challenge? That's another thing. I feel like
I think it's probably just it's a speed of play thing. Look, if it was me, I don't know that I would have any challenge. I hate it. I absolutely dread every time they go to the monitor, they stop the flow of play.
They do this thing.
I hate it. I totally hate it. I think they already have too many damn timeouts, TV timeouts and everything. I would rather just play the game.
Just
to be honest with you.
challenge.
I hate it. I absolutely despise it. Look, it's great that they get some calls right, but I find there's a bunch of those plays where they go look at it and I still don't agree with what they did. And even the announcers always are, kind of joking about it. If you watch, some of the nationally televised games where, they'll be like, they'll give their opinion on it and then they won't overturn it. And so it's like, what's the point of all this anyway?
No, I agree. I'm with you on that. Let's all right. I'm over the game. I've gone on my rants and things like that. You're also going to see a dog on the couch. If you're watching on YouTube, it's little Nova. She's joining us today. So she's sleeping. So let's talk about Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum, because I think, going into this trade, I knew of CJ's caliber, like pretty good basketball player, but my God, those two together on the court are impressive, because CJ's a 3-level scorer. BI's a 3-level scorer. And when you have guys like Jonas Valanciunas and, God forbid, Zion Williamson comes back, and those guys are setting screens for those guys. There are so many things you can do. And Ross, like, they are a serious 1-2 punch on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, they are. We knew McCollum was good. Like you said, we knew the things he could do, right? Knockdown shooter, one of the better 3-point shooters in the league, that he had a little bit of off the bounce, pick and roll juice, but I don't think I didn't expect him to be quite this good. And sort of, I think what you're seeing is that freedom in the backcourt to sort of play. He was always not so much in Lillard's shadow, because I think there were times when Lillard was out and he played really well, but he seems to just be more free than he was there. And I think a lot of that is because he's just handling the ball more. And the one thing that he's doing just a phenomenal job of, he's never been a guy that turned it over a lot, but he barely turns it over once a game, maybe twice a game.
His decision making is elite.
He's not trying to do too much. Right. He's obviously a really good scorer, in the pick and roll, but still, I think the fact that he's basically transitioned from sort of a combo guard to here doing some, he's still kind of a combo guard, but handling the ball a lot more than he did in Portland, and still keeping his turnovers really low. He's getting us into good stuff. And obviously he's been super efficient. So look, you could not have asked for anything more, right? Nothing more. And that's, and we're talking about just the on the court shit.
We haven't got off the off court shit we're about to get into later in the show, but it also frees up Brandon Ingram. So BI last night, clearly struggling. Aaron Gordon's in his shit. He's affecting the game early on. He starts 0 for 6, has a couple turnovers. And what was nice, and what we haven't been really used to, is BI doesn't have his stuff. Well, CJ can carry the load for a little bit. And then once BI got cooking, that's when it was kind of over. And they went on that serious run. They go up, I think, 11 or 12 points there in the third quarter. They make an awesome run, and they kind of run out of gas late in the fourth. But you had mentioned, Ross, walking in, still crunch time struggles. And listen, this is the first time, I think, is this technically the first time that they've been in crunch time together? I want to say
probably the last 3 or 4 games were just blowout.
Yeah, so we kind of saw what CJ and BI and how they can play and things like that. And the lane's still a little bit clogged up for my liking, but when you got Herb, BI, CJ, Zion, and JV, I think that's going to be really tough to stop.
Yeah, I thought yesterday in the last 4 or 5 minutes was the first time I felt like we just kind of we're saying, we had almost an oh shit mentality of, okay, get it to CJ or get it to BI. And we were finding ourselves in that 6 seconds in the shot clock. Yeah. We've basically done nothing with the ball for the first, 15, 18 seconds of the shot clock. And it would, divulge into some, either a tough shot from McCollum or a tough shot from Ingram. And we talked about it. I thought there were opportunities there to not necessarily go to other guys, but to exploit other matchups. Yeah. Hernan Gomez was not going to stop Jokic on the other end, but at the same time, they were playing Jeff Green on Willie and letting Jokic rest, basically stand in the corner with Herb and not do anything. There was an opportunity, I think, to play a little bit of a 3-man game there. And instead I think we tightened up a little bit and ended up in a lot of tough one-on-one situations, but there's learning. I mean, there's learning stuff there. Yeah. I'm super encouraged with what McCollum and Ingram have done together. I mean, at
the end of the day, I think Willie did a great job actually of adjusting there in the second and third quarters. That he started using BI and CJ as ball screeners, and they couldn't figure out how to handle it. That's when BI started getting his mismatches, and CJ McCollum. I think it was in the late in the fourth. I think JV stepped up for CJ3. As CJ went off it, and they're playing sync coverage, and CJ just knocked it down. The Pelicans haven't had a guy like that in years, man. It was so good to see. And I think moving forward, Ross, when they get in more and more of these situations, they're going to be fine. But I think that was their first time in crunch time, and they struggled a little bit last night. But listen, the referees that was a tough game. The Nuggets are a tough team, just in general, and just to have a double-digit lead, should have won the basketball game. That's really encouraging.
Yeah, Valanciunas going out.
That killed.
Yeah, it hurt us on both ends. It hurt us on both ends a lot.
Because he can bang with Jokic, and he can.
Yeah, and they wouldn't have been able. Yeah, and they wouldn't have been able to switch. Jeff Green onto Willie, and it affected a lot of things on both ends. Sort of went downhill for us quick there, but otherwise, look, you win. I mean, it's a hell of a road run, and it's not over yet.
It's not over
yet.
Right?
You got Memphis tomorrow, and for me, that's a huge game. It's huge. And Memphis has been great. It's tough to say you're expecting to go up there and win, but I mean, those West Coast trips are tough. You won at Phoenix, at LA, blew Utah out, which is a phenomenal win.
Had to come back home, went to Utah, then go back to Denver.
Exactly. Back to Denver. If you can pull off a win against the Grizzlies, then you got a little reprieve at home, right? You got the Magic at home. The Hornets are still kind of a hit and miss team, but they hadn't been very good lately. You've got the Rockets, and I think you got Phoenix again without Chris Paul. So an opportunity here.
That's what I'm saying. If we looked at the schedule, and I'm still pissed off about the loss last night, but if you looked at the schedule and you saw these first 5 games and you were like, hey, we're going to go 4-1. Would you take that?
Exactly. Absolutely.
100%
absolutely. Any West Coast trip. I mean, those are tough because you got Phoenix is tough. The Lakers are what they are. I mean, I guess we haven't talked much. Lakers are bad. That team they ran out there against us is a bad. It's just a bad team. Yeah. It's not, I mean, whatever. It is.
I'm not worried about them.
No, I'm not either. And then, Sacramento's is up and down, but I mean, I think to go out there, I mean, you blew out 3 of those games. That's great. That shows you, I think, what
the team's serious.
It is. It's serious. And, it's hard to watch a game last night. I feel like I've said this every time we've talked, but it's hard to watch a game last night and not think about what.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Zion Williamson, because it's hard but you've been saying that for months. That it's hard to imagine. Like, imagine Zion Williamson in this lineup.
Because you built the team. Because that's what
it's scary.
Right. You built this roster. You constructed this thing in the offseason around what you thought would be there, this integral centerpiece. And now you've added another super, very, very high level player that also fits with the style of play that theoretically Zion's going to bring. So I just can't help but think about, you've got this dynamic offensive force.
That's a big 3.
Surrounded by, I mean, Ingram, who's playing at an all-star level, McCollum, who's playing at an all-star level, Valanciunas, who has a skill set, I think, that to a certain extent will complement some of the things Zion does. And then you've got this sort of, Swiss Army knife Herb, and then some other stuff. So it's like I said, last night, especially, you get in those last 3-4 minutes and Valanciunas had gone out and we were kind of struggling to do. It's like, man, those are the times it'd be really, really nice
to have a 26 point per game bucket. Like, he's a bucket, get out my way.
And not to say exactly, like, it's great to everybody's really excited, and I am too. It's nice to have another guy that can handle the ball and get his own shot. Yeah, that's awesome. Like, sometimes though, you
play bully ball. I mean, that's what Jokic did. You play bully ball. Zion Williamson play bully ball. So, but let's talk about it. So CJ calls him out All-Star weekend. JJ Redick calls him out, a couple days after. Kendrick Perkins, whatever, all that stuff's happening. So clearly you've seen now Zion Williamson's camp starting to feel the heat, right? And so there are reports, obviously, of Zion being back on Saturday. Pictures come out of Zion Williamson at church on Uptown on Sunday. He's at another picture of him with I guess his 2 dogs and his stepdad at looks like a dog center, or what am I looking, what's the word I'm looking for?
Dog grooming?
No, one dog grooming. It's a
I don't have
pet
dogs.
store. I got dog pet store. So you're starting to see more and more of him. You're starting to see more of him in and around the city. What do you think this means, I guess, moving forward? Because he's been cleared for basketball activities. Does this mean that this is the ramp up time? Does this mean that he'll get some practice time, some floor time? We don't know yet, but it's at least exciting. And it's at least nice to see Zion Williamson in his camp playing the game. Okay. Right. When I say playing the game, just show us a couple pictures. He's in the city. He's back home. Now everyone's like, Zion, we miss you. We're excited to have you.
And that was always really
that's
the
all we
fear
wanted
about him going wherever he went, is it's just sort of out of sight, out of mind. And then things start happening. You've got the All-Star break, you bring in McCollum, and it's like, where is he? What's going on? Everybody, look, the negativity around Zion early in the season, I thought was justified. Just, because nobody knew what was going on. You're told he's going to, you have the whole thing about he's going to be here for opening night. And then there was some frustration there, but I think it turned into this thing where the narrative was that people here don't like that people didn't like. That's never been true. Ever. There's no, that guy's incredible to watch. Every time he played pre-pandemic, the stadium's full. People want to.
But you have Kendrick Perkins saying that he's an idiot.
He's an idiot. Yeah, I mean, people love. We want to watch. We want him to play. We want him to be part of this. Last year was frustrating. You got Van Gundy, who's this grumpy guy. Clearly, there's something good going on here. You're starting to win games. You got McCollum, who seems like the type of veteran leader that we've been looking for. Yeah. He's what we were told JJ Redick would be and wasn't. A guy that can come in and help lead and provide the right demeanor. McCollum's been everything you want him to be. It's your time now, big boy. Let's show back up. Come on, if you can ramp up and give us something, even if you play the last 6-7 games, just something. Understand, look, you've been dealing with the injury thing. It sounds like the foot thing is real. That's obviously, most important, getting healthy. But God, it'd be great. I mean, it'd be great to see him on the court. Even, like I said, even if it's 15, 20 minutes a game, those last handful of games of the season, and then into the, whatever's going to happen postseason.
But this comment, what you've been talking about from Kyle, is that all we need is a workout video, right? Or just something of this guy's grinding. He's coming back.
That's all people want to see.
Just the anticipation, just building him up. But now you see, I'm excited, right? So I'm going to go to the Magic game on Wednesday at the Smoothie King Center. I bet you he gets a huge ovation when he comes out. I bet you that's going to start turning the tide here of we want Zion here.
Exactly. I mean, the one guy that I think about, and I know we talked about other people that have been hurt in the past, but I recently saw probably 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, you saw Jamal Murray one where it was in pregame and he was out there just sweating, doing all kind of stuff, clearly ramping up to join the team at some point. And it's that's all people want. They just want to know that you want to be back, that you're on the court, busting your ass to join your teammates that are grinding it out. I mean, they're playing great, grinding it out, big road stretch. Get back with them, become part of the camaraderie and the teamship and everything else. And let's see what can happen these last, whatever it is, 30 games.
Right. Yeah. And once again, I think people are worried. I got a couple questions yesterday. I wanted to make this very clear. People are like, well, who goes to the bench, Jackson or JV? Or it's if Zion does return this year, he's coming off the bench. Zion's gonna come off the bench. I hate to say
it'd be hard.
It's gonna be 15, 20 minutes. Yeah. And I think that would be the most.
It's really late in the year. I mean,
it's very late in the year. You got Jax who's been doing a nice job at the 4, and then but if you imagine Zion coming off the bench, there are things you can do with that lineup now. It's pretty scary. And if you get him for 15, 20 minutes a night, that's better than not having him for 15 or 20 minutes a night. And I bet you he can be very efficient in those 15 or 20 minutes a night. People are saying throw him in the starting lineup. I don't think that's the best way to go right now. If there was 40, 50 games left, then sure. But right now you have a really good thing going on with that starting 5 at Jax at the 4 and JV at the 5 and the rotation. But
yeah, it just totally depends on when he comes back. I mean, you're down. I mean, there's a month left of the year. I mean, I think our last game is April 10th. It's March 7th. So you got a month left of regular season basketball. He hasn't even, he's done nothing to our knowledge in terms of I still think him playing this year is probably, I'm saying it would be great if he does. I don't.
Right.
Probably won't.
New scheme. new players, new
Yeah.
coach. He's never played with CJ. He's
Yeah,
never played with JV. He's never played with Herb. Like
we need to like put it out that he's probably not going to play. Like, just understand. I mean, if I had to say it, I'd say 70-30 that he doesn't play.
And if he does play, it should be.
I would love him to play based off of all the shit we're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't. I mean, at the end of they're not going to risk this guy messing a foot up for 4 games.
No.
Or something. I mean, just
once again, if I spill coffee on me myself one more time, I'm gonna lose my shit. Once again, presented by Company Burger, located at 4600 Ferret Street. Let's talk about a guy that's not being talked about a lot, and I think he's just been everything and then some. And I didn't expect anything from him was Tony Snell. Listen, Tony Snell has come off the bench every game. He's shooting 48, 49% from deep. Okay, is this like a fluke? I have no idea, but he's been very productive off the bench. He's a long body. He can match up like 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. He can bang a little bit. Did you expect that from Tony Snell? And not to mention Larry Nance possibly coming back soon. And you, as you described him, a bigger and better version of Josh Hart.
Yeah, I don't know if he's a better version, but he's just a different position.
Better.
He's the forward version of Josh Hart. Yes. Hustle. He's just a guy that you're going to like being on your team. He's hustling. He makes hustle plays. He makes a lot of those plays that get people out of their seats. A big block, big roll to the rim dunk. He's just a hustle guy. Yeah, he's going to be fun to have. But I mean, look, I didn't expect anything from Tony Snell, but he is a career 40% 3-point shooter.
Is he really?
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that's just always,
he's just a veteran guy off the bench that you can trust.
He's been in the league for 10 years. I think if you ask Tony Snell to go out there and play 33, 34 minutes, you're not going to be impressed with the results.
So 10, 12.
But I think in that type of situation, you will be. He's a guy that can go and knock down open threes, guard a couple positions. But I mean, he's just not giving you much else offensively. You don't really want him putting it on the floor or anything. But hey, go stand out there and knock down an open three. He's proven throughout his career. Just go. I mean, he's been in the league since 2013. He's a career 40% 3.
Yeah. And then not to mention,
it's not fake. I mean, he can shoot.
He can shoot. Not to mention another guy that's kind of reemerged from nowhere is Najee Marshall. And Najee, as we talked about Najee early on in this podcast, why he struggled. It's like we're trying to do way too. Like, one, you're not a ball handler.
Yeah.
2, like you're not this like creator. I don't know if Summer League
was like almost bad for him.
Yeah, because like he's coming off PRs and down screens. Like Najee, you bust your ass up and down the court. You slot cut, and then if you're open for threes, you hit them.
Yeah.
And I think he's starting to see now, like, oh, this is my role. And he's starting to exceed at it. He's starting to be, once again, more productive minutes. Last night, had a great slot cut. I think he might have had a couple steals, but there was one instance, I think Devontae steals it. He does this ridiculous, like, up and under, like, reverses it, misses it, but Najee's there, busting his ass to get the rebound, gets fouled, I think hits a couple free throws. That's the Najee Marshall that we've all loved.
And I'll tell you who I've liked watching the last, we'll call it week and a half, basically since the All-Star break, is Devontae Graham coming off the bench. Yep. I think he's been a net positive almost every single, and a big net positive in basically every game since the All-Star break. He might have had, I mean, there may be a couple small ones in there, but he's played really well. He shot the ball really well.
Yeah.
You've got to respect a guy like that comes in, you trade for him. He starts for most of the season. McCollum comes in, you move him to the bench, and he just takes the role in stride. And not only does he take the role, he excels in it.
Can we talk about that for a second?
That's being a veteran. That's being a team guy. And it's not that you are now less important. Right. I could argue the opposite, right? You're coming in against a second unit. We need you to do certain things.
Right.
Last night, unfortunate that he missed that free throw, but otherwise, I thought he played another pretty solid game.
Yeah. So a couple things I wanted to mention about Willie Green. So on this topic, Willie Green, this is why he's the right guy. So I think there's a story. I forget it was from Christian Clark or Lopez, whoever it was, but they came out with Willie Green talked to Devontae Graham that he's going to be removed from the starting lineup and be moved to the bench. And there are certain ways to do that, right? So you could text him, you could call him. Willie Green didn't do any of that. He went to his house and was like, this is what we're going to do with you. He communicated. And Devontae's like, you know what? You're right. My numbers haven't been great. Like there was like that connection, right? Like not the Devontae shows up one day, and you hear this all the time in sports. A player shows up and doesn't realize, like, why am I not in the starting lineup? There's no communication. There's no explanation. Willie Green went to his house, explained to him why, and was like, "This is what we need from you in the second unit." And I think he's really he's doing a nice job. Okay,
Yeah.
he's being more efficient than he was in starting.
And if we're being honest, it's probably the best role for him.
Yes, it is.
It's probably a role he's more fit for. It's what he was doing in
Sure.
Charlotte. I mean, he was coming off the bench last year in Charlotte. So I don't think it's not out of the ordinary. We've talked a lot about the changing culture, right? That's been a big sort of, rallying cry, I think, for a lot of the season. And this kind of stuff speaks to it. It just does.
Right.
The same way Jackson Hayes going from being awful early in the year,
right,
doing a little G League time, and now coming up and starting and playing really well. It's like all of these things matter. And they don't always translate directly to a win right away, but over the long term, it does. Right. And I think you're starting to see the residual effects of some of that changing culture.
Yeah. So
in terms of wins.
Completely agree. And then there's another comment from Willie Green. When we had that just awful loss at home against, who am I blanking on? Who did we lose to right before the All-Star break? It was a bad loss. It's like, I don't know, just whatever.
Miami?
No, it wasn't.
San Antonio.
Was it? No.
Dallas.
Thank you. 33%, not bad. We lost to Dallas, and Willie Green
keep firing off teams.
That was good. Willie Green goes to the pressers like, yeah, we're gonna look at the rotations about Garrett Temple, because we were like, why is Garrett Temple? And he made the right call and he made the right adjustment. But what I respect the hell out of Willie Green is he admitted, he's like, you know what? We need to look into it. If adjustments need to be made, they will be made. And he made them. And that's what shows you why he's going to be such a good coach in this league, is because he can adjust. Is he going to go through rookie mistakes? Absolutely. This is his first year.
Yeah.
He's going to have rookie mistakes. There's going to be things that don't work. There are going to be certain sets that don't work. There are going to be certain rotations that don't work. You're going to question, why is he doing this? Why is he doing that? Why isn't he playing Trey Murphy? Why is he playing Garrett? This is first year. But to see him making these adjustments and being pretty effective in the adjustments is pretty impressive. He's been everything and more than we've needed.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've
he's
said
at the Tulane game over the weekend.
You nailed the head coach.
He's out in Mardi Gras. Like, you're just starting to see, Jose Alvarado's just been incredible out in Mardi Gras. It's just as you said, the culture. He's the best. Another guy. He's like, it's like, why? At first, I remember we joked, we're like, we need Jose over Sato. We need him over Sato. Yeah. And then he started playing. It's like, no, we seriously need Jose.
Need him.
We actually need him, and he should be playing.
Yeah.
He's been a great story.
Yeah. Yeah, he has. I thought, going back to last night too, it's just, like I said, it's frustrating because we had Herb made the big play, got the steal in the bucket. I just felt like we had a bunch of chances to win, but Herb, obviously a guy that we've talked about a lot. I keep waiting for something to happen, right? For him to get tired, or just for him to get just abused one night by like a veteran score. I just keep waiting for something, and it just,
what he did against Donovan Mitchell
doesn't. It's just not happening. Like I watch a game and I'm like, maybe this is gonna be the night Herb shows a little bit of the rookie legs, or just a good veteran score just kind of eats him up. Like, it's just not happening. And listen, if you look at the box score, right? So I'm glad you brought this up. He had to guard Devin Booker around the All-Star break. He had to guard Devin Booker, LeBron James, De'Aaron Fox, Donovan Mitchell, and last night had, who was he guarding last night? Kind of all over. He guarded Monty Morris.
Yeah, he's all over. Whatever.
Everybody, yeah.
But what I'm saying is, like, if you look at the box scores, you'll see like LeBron had 30 and Booker had 30. And it's like, well, Booker had 30 on 25 shots.
Exactly.
Like, LeBron had 30 on like 22 shots. Like, very inefficient stat lines. Of course, LeBron's like, go get his 25, 30 against
a superstar takes 25 shots. Like, he's probably going to score 25 points.
Right.
That's good. That's why you blew those teams out.
Exactly. And Herb Jones has just been incredible. And there's just such a bright future for this team. So it sucked, it sucked that we lost last night. I'm over it. Let's talk about the schedule, and then we'll wrap it up. So the next 5 games at Memphis tomorrow night, you got a back-to-back. Mm-hmm. So Memphis, and then Orlando, Charlotte,
Houston and
Phoenix. So somebody said, if you go 4-1 here,
yeah, those are, so I think you've got a really good chance there to go, 4-1.
I think you can handle Phoenix at home.
I'm kind of looking. Yeah, I think so too. Without Chris Paul, I mean, I don't know that they're a good team, a really good team. Good. You can beat Phoenix at home. I'm actually looking at that next set of 6 games, because that's when you're really playing. This is kind of, I don't even know. You've got, well, these are, you sort of have a little Eastern Conference. You got the Magic and the Hornets, but then after you play the Suns, you've got, I think I think you've got the stretch of basically 6 or 7 games that are going to decide where you seed out, right?
Who are
You've
those
got
next 6?
Spurs,
Gotta have it.
Hawks,
Okay.
Spurs, Hawks, Hornets, all on the road.
Okay.
Bulls, Spurs, Lakers, Blazers, Lakers, Clippers.
The 2 Spurs, the 2 Lakers are everything.
So I mean, it
everything.
is, and then you also have the Blazers and Clippers in there too. So it's like you've got a string right there, late March
that you control, right? Like you're not scoreboard
because you're
watching.
not. Oh no, absolutely, and because you're not like everything is in play here. Everything is in play right now. You're the 10 seed. You know, you're 6 back of the Clippers, but like. That Clippers team, I think is going to, I mean, they looked terrible last night.
Yeah, they
played decent, but I mean, they've played decent, better than I expected. Somehow
I don't think they're that
games.
good.
I don't either.
Like if it was Clippers Pelicans in a play-in, I'm like, okay, let's go to Crypto Arena. Whatever.
I love that. I'd love that.
Take that all day.
Yeah. I think I'm curious what's going to happen in that range. I think Portland's done. So you've got your teams for the playoffs, unless the Spurs go on some kind of big run, which I don't see. It's going to be about where do they all fit? Yeah. Right. Between, I don't think the 8 is out of, I really don't.
You really don't think so?
I don't think so. I think that Clippers team is going to continue to kind of work back. I haven't looked at their schedule, but look, this just isn't a tough string of games.
All it takes the 5-6 game win streak, right?
Spurs, Hornets, Spurs, Lakers, Blazers, Lakers, Clippers, Kings. That's your next stretch again.
Those are
all of those teams are way under 500, all of them across the board. And now, granted, we are too, but still.
But we're a good team, though.
But I mean, those are a lot of very, very winnable games.
Right,
and I think as you get even later, once you get into late March, you may see the Spurs kind of, losing some games on purpose. If they continue to fall farther out of it, they might lose a couple games on purpose. Right. I don't know where the Hornets are in the East, but it seems like they've been losing games at a rapid pace.
They just want like a 6-game losing streak.
Yeah, I think Hayward's probably out for the year. They may start to kind of lose some games on purpose. Yeah. Portland, same thing. Once they fully fall out of it, they're clearly building for the future. I think you may see them lose some games on purpose. So all that to say, everybody, we're in a playoff race here. Obviously, these games are important, but it's who you're playing. Where there's some games where you could really have a big swing. You win those Lakers games, you win those 2 Clipper games, and I think
do we have 2 Lakers games at home, or is it split?
You've got
it must be split. Huh?
You've got a split. You go Lakers at home on the 27th, and then you're right back to the Lakers that next Friday.
Yeah, that's enormous right there. That stretch right there is everything. So now this is exciting times. Yeah. I know it's the play-in, whatever. It's a playoff race. Whatever. Screw it. So,
but even if you didn't have it, like you're in the hunt for the 8.
I mean, yeah. No, I know. I as you mentioned, like the Clippers can. I just don't think they're that good of a basketball.
I don't either.
I don't see it. So, no, it was good. I'm glad we got to finally. We had Mardi Gras and then the Final Four for us at Country Day, and it's been a tough week, and you've been at home, so glad to get back in the studios. We're missing Stephen Offner, but Nova tried to come in, and
I think I actually did a much better job than Offner. Great insight from Nova today.
That would be my dog sitting on the couch right now.
Didn't mispronounce anyone's name. I thought she did a phenomenal job.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. It helps our podcast out. Once again, shout out to Boot Crew Media and Company Burger. Got to go check out Adam soon. I cannot wait. Other than that, big stretch coming up starting against Memphis tomorrow night. Yeah. You can follow us on Twitter or Instagram at ProPelsTalk. We're out of here. Ross Tivno, Justin Appley. See y'all later.